In this video, I'll be telling you the story of how I spent the entire month of March and over 200 Minecraft days transforming my base in this survival world from an uninhabited jungle wasteland to a fully fledged civilization with roads, houses, agriculture, and a monument taller than even the Statue of Liberty. But this is how my base looks now, so yeah, I've got a lot of work to do. My first goal for the month is to get copper, and if you're wondering why I only have stone tools in my hotbar, in this series I intentionally limit my progression, only unlocking new structures, materials, and items at the start of every month. Last episode I covered January and February, unlocking wood and stone, and this episode I'll be covering the Copper Age. For the month of March, I have 3 major goals before I can progress to the Iron Age. Goal number 1 is to get everything new related to copper. Goal number 2 is to get some enchanted items, and goal number 3 is to build a functioning civilization as my base. So I've got my work cut out for me, and remember, I only have till the end of the month to build this. So let's tackle the first one. There was already a large vein of copper in my house, so I mined that. And while the copper smelted, I decided to build a chicken farm. While I'm building this farm, I should explain what I want to do here for the civilization. I wanted to have 3 main features: a town in the jungle region over here, a farming community on the water, and then some sort of big statue type monument all the way somewhere back there. I made my way back to the furnace room, got my refined copper, and made a full set of tools, armor, a sword, and a spear. To make these projects, I need a lot of copper to replace my constantly breaking tools and armor. So I explored the caves beneath my house and did something I don't think anyone has ever done before. I went mining specifically for copper. Dude, it feels so weird to pass up on this iron. After my mining trip, I found that I had more than enough copper for now, so I decided to go exploring for some spruce wood. And after not too long of an adventure, I found not only spruce wood, but also an azalea tree. And that's perfect, because right now I can't reliably get grass blocks, so moss will have to be the substitute for it. And it also opens up so many new blocks and decorations. Now that I'd returned, I started with the first house in the town. I want to sort of incorporate leaves and moss into the design, but since I don't have shears yet, I sort of have to make my house around the trees. So let's make the first house. Wow, what a cute pig. After a lot of building, I built my first house around the tree, and I think it actually turned out pretty nice. I also want my houses to all have functions too, so this one will be the shepherd's house, where I'll have a lot of sheep. Now, after posting my last video, my friend saw it and suggested I make a couple of changes. Firstly, I should turn my shaders back on, which, while it does fry my computer, they do look pretty nice, I have to admit. Next, he said to quote-unquote, make a giant statue like the ones you see on TikTok. So I got into a creative world and began designing. My first idea was to build a 1-to-1 scale replica of the Statue of Liberty made out of copper, but after realizing how much copper that would take, I reconsidered. So my second idea was to then build a gigantic stone angel statue. I modeled it after this random guy I found on the internet, and it's sort of an angel on the tips of her toes reaching towards the sky. I then made a rough shape and realized, oh, I'm really bad at this. So I looked up a video, downloaded Axiom, a building tool, and then after a few hours of trial and error, I managed to make myself a statue that I was really proud with. I was trying to be conservative with the amount of stone I used, and I made these tiny little wings on her back. But then I showed it to my friend, and he said to make it bigger, and then bigger, and then bigger, and then finally we got to these wings that were absolutely gigantic. I then also changed out parts of the angel's hair and wings for pale oak wood, as the wood gave it a sort of marbly texture which contrasted well with the dark stone. I also tried to shade the statue with different types of stone, But then I realized I have shaders. There's no point shading the statue. The shaders already do that for me. So I then used World Edit to calculate the materials needed for the project, and okay, let's see here. 200 calcite, not so bad. 2 stacks of tuff, okay. 3 stacks of diorite, so this is not too bad so far. Let's see what else I'll need. 200 stacks of stone, 43 stacks of andesite, and 34 stacks of stripped pale wood. Not logs, wood. And before you say, oh, that's not so bad, my favorite hardcore YouTuber built a statue with 1,000,000 stone by episode 2, you have to realize I don't have any farms. I only have copper tools, and I have to mine all of this by hand. So, instead of complaining, I guess it's just time to get to work. But before I get to work, I decided to make myself some new friends. Watch. I believe it. 1 bone. Okay. Oh, 2 bones. Hey, I got a dog. Hello, everyone. Say hi to my new dog. His name is, Ignatius. This is my dog, Ignatius, everyone. I also had enough pufferfish to tame myself another friend. And say hi to Nelson the Nautilus, everyone. For this guy, I made an aqueduct system that led under my base into this nice little pond, which actually worked out pretty nicely as it gave me a nice way to move from the ocean to his enclosure pretty easily. Speaking of the ocean, it was time to get the materials for the statue. So I set out through the sea to find the first ingredient for the giant project, calcite. I'm looking for geodes since, aside from some super rare calcite mountains, they're the only place I can reliably get it. And after not too long of a search, I found a geode poking through the ocean floor. And after a bit of underwater door mining, I acquired all the calcite I'd need for the project. Next on the list was tuff. Not tough to get, just, tough. After breaking through a pickaxe or 2 of tuff, I think I had all I needed. Now you might be wondering, what am I fussing over, Sure, it took a couple days, but I already have 2 of the materials checked off. Well, the thing is, those are the super easy ones. I decided that while I could sit at a cobblestone generator for 20 hours, that wouldn't make for a very interesting video. So I decided to expand my hobbit house even deeper into the ground. And with that, I got half the stone and andesite I'd need, and all the necessary diorite too. I then flattened out this area and built a gigantic 100-block tall tower to represent how tall the statue would be. Taking a break from mining though, I trapped a witch and a zombie villager in a boat. I have something special planned for them in a few months, but for now I've got bigger fish to fry, so I won't really be needing them. Hey, speaking of fish, remember last episode when I talked about not wanting to deal with the guardians from the ocean monument? Well, this episode, I fixed that problem. Kind of. I built a temporary dirt perimeter around the monument, and later today, I'll be transforming that into something way cooler and way more useful. But for now, I gotta get to building the rest of the village. Now, I hate mobs. They're really, really annoying. And for some reason, mobs are spawning inside my base. And they like this one corner where the witch is. And when I tried to kill them with an arrow, I somehow missed both the witch and the zombie, and I hit the boat. Oh, dude. Oh gosh. Okay. I gotta make a boat. Okay. Nice. Come on, get in. Get in. Whoa, oh my god, what was that sound? What was that? After much trial and error, almost dying more times than I'd like to admit, and the terrifying sound of this Leviathan-class sea monster, I managed to trap the witch, spawn-proof my base, and get another zombie villager. With my base more or less safe, I decided to go on a nice fishing trip to get some enchanted items. And let me tell you, I hit the jackpot. I got a power 4 mending bow, as well as a power 4 unbreaking bow. When I get an anvil, these will be extremely strong weapons. I've also got some magic fishing rods with unbreaking, and yeah, It really lived up to his name. I don't know why, but for some reason, this fishing rod would not break. The durability on it would not decrease. Now it's time to start the base of the statue. It's going to be on a slightly elevated pedestal with some grass on top. And I found this super cool island nearby, and I decided to clear that out and put the statue there. So I cleared the island and got rid of that super ugly tower I made, and then began making the base plate. For this project, and probably this project only, I'm going to be using a Lightmatica schematic. Now, if you don't know what Lightmatica is, it's basically like those number coloring books of Minecraft building. You have a hologram design that you paste in, and you sort of just follow the guide. And normally I do like to build stuff as I go and make up the designs during the building process. But with the complexity of this build, especially considering how much stone is needed, and the fact that if I break stone, it doesn't turn back into stone, but it turns back into cobblestone. After finishing the pedestal, I decided to do the interiors of the houses, since they looked pretty good on the outside, but sucked on the inside. With that done, I decided to take some free time to finally do what I've been wanting to do since the beginning of the month: go on an adventure. My surroundings are filled with ruined ships and forgotten civilizations home to treasure, so I really want to go and find out what that's about. When exploring the ruins, I found a Lure 3 fishing rod. Immediately after my adventure, I sailed home back to my shore. Then I cast the fishing rod into the water, and then I got a Power 4 enchanted book. Let's freaking go! And let me tell you, this is why I do the challenge. The amount of dopamine going through my brain at this point was an unrivaled sensation of pure euphoria. It felt so rewarding to get this book from fishing, and I know you could get it from other places. I know you could get it from villagers, and that's what most players do. But where's the fun in that? Where's the fun in breaking and replacing lecterns for half an hour to get your preferred enchantment? It's so much more enjoyable to brave the seas with your Nautilus buddy and find an ancient fishing rod than it is to just farm villagers for an hour straight. I want to show people that there's a different way to playing Minecraft. When exploring, I also found a bunch of other stuff, like this Nautilus armor, some potatoes, and most importantly, a compass, which is great. I really want to preserve the memories from my time in this world throughout the months, and maps are a great way to do that. But I can't craft them until I unlock Redstone in June, so for now, compasses are extremely coveted items for me. When I got back to my base, I started building the statue. But before I got to finishing the statue, lag spikes were getting extremely common, and while this is a guess, I think it might have to do with the fact that my animal pens are a complete mess. As funny as it is to have all these sheep imprisoned in a space that definitely breaks pretty much every animal rights charter ever, I couldn't have them lagging up my game. So it was time for the great culling of day 178. Wow, that was a lot. You know, I broke through 3 straight axes just killing animals, and this video will probably get fried by Mappa because of that edit, but oh well, on the bright side, I guess I don't have to worry about food for a while now. For the past couple weeks, I'd been shearing and cutting as much pale wood as I can to get the hair done for the angel, since it's sort of like a marbly texture and I think it really contrasts well. I also then went mining specifically for andesite and then did even more stone mining. I'd also been chopping down jungle trees for the sole purpose of turning them into charcoal to smelt the stone. And after many trees were cut, and many pickaxes were broken, and many axes were broken too, I finally had 2.5 double chests full of stone. Despite not having all the materials to finish the statue, I decided now was the best time to start finally doing the big project for this video, the statue. Standing at 100 meters tall and containing 17,000 blocks, it would be quite the challenging build. So let's get to it. Alrighty, I have some good news and some bad news. So let me get to the good news first. I didn't fully fill in the statues, so I'm actually way under budget, and that's nice, but that happened because I was calculating the volume of the stone instead of the area. So, you know, that's pretty good, but the inside of the statue is literally like a cave. And I had to light up the whole thing, and there's like so many creepers here before. Oh, no. Oh, no. Please, creeper. I'm leaving the wings for a later date because I really need to build the rest of the stuff, and it's such a hard and scary thing to build that. A single mistake, and I lose all the levels I've been building up. So while I didn't get to finish the angel statue, it's at a place where it looks decent, and I really only have the month to do this, so I need to get to building the next part of the civilization, which would require a lot of wood. So to supply the wood I needed for the next build, I made a giant cube of oak trees. I then spent a few hours growing and breaking jungle and spruce trees for logs, and after that I was pretty sure I was good on wood. Before we continue on, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for getting this far. If you saw the last episode, thank you for commenting, watching, being part of the community. Like, really everything you do here means so much to me, and I just wanted to say thank you so much. Alright, back to the video now. I'm sorry for bothering you. Before throwing myself into another giant build, I did do a few side quests. Mainly, it was day 200, and despite technically not being in hardcore, I still hadn't died a single time yet. So in celebration, I built myself a copper throne, got some orange dye and some glow ink, and made a throne worthy of a king to celebrate 200 days. I wanted to eat cake, but, you know, I'm poor, so to celebrate instead I used pumpkin pie, which was still nice, but you know, it really isn't the same, and that kinda sucked. And you know what else sucks? Creepers. Mobs were becoming really annoying, and the creepers especially really ruined all my builds with all their explosions. So I decided to make my town a little more defensible. I began playing around with a design for a lamppost, and after a little bit of time, I found a design I liked and then copy-pasted it throughout the town. I then decided to connect all my houses together with the road system. It's sort of a mix of browny orange blocks, and I think it actually looks pretty nice. Finally, I decided to make a wall around the perimeter of my base. I'm going for a more ruined aesthetic with this build, so I didn't exactly make the wall very functional or defensible, but it still looks pretty nice, and I put lanterns all the way around it to keep the mobs from spawning. Finally, one last thing I did to light up the town was add glowberries. I used them as a sort of natural light system, and I think they look amazing. I only really have access right now to copper lanterns and torches, and while they do look nice, it is a little annoying that my copper lanterns keep turning rusty all the time, and torches, they look a little too boring for my likes. Glowberries look amazing, they are functional, and also on the bright side, they give you free food too, so it's really a win-win all the way around. Now, I want to feel even safer in my village, so to do that, I need to be able to take out mobs from a distance. So I got all my gravel, feathers, and sticks and made myself a large supply of arrows to use for my power 4 bow. I never really used bows in survival, and damn, they're pretty good. I really felt powerful, and after a night of hurting mobs, and maybe just a few near-death experiences, I got an enchanted crossbow, some enchanted copper armor, and most importantly, level 60. It's kind of useless to be this high in levels, but it's pretty cool because I've never been this high before, level-wise. With all the enchanted gear I have, the armor, the weapons, the fishing rods, I think it's pretty safe to say that I've completed goal number 2. For goal number 3, I've more or less finished the first 2 parts of my civilization, but it's time for the last bit. I sort of want the lore of this civilization to be how it was built over the ruins of an old town, and as you can see by the old ruined walls. The animals should be all owned by the land-dwelling population, and the crops are harvested by the seaside inhabitants of the town, and they sort of act as like a symbiotic relationship working with each other. Okay, with everything planned out, all I need now is the materials. I'll need campfires, granite, dirt, and wood, so time to get the materials. Okay, we're back. We got the materials. Didn't take too long. Now, time to build the town. For the town, I'll be making these stilts and then putting houses on them. There won't be any roads, as the main way to get around is going to be by boat. And one of you guys commented about making some aquatic farms called chinampas, and after falling down about an hour-long rabbit hole on Mesoamerican agriculture, I came up with a design similar to that of the villagers, but instead using some bamboo wood and floating on water. So let's build it. Okay, so I did get a little carried away here and made this giant donut around the ocean monument, and yes, I did use a template to make it a nice circle, and it's still somehow uneven. I'm not sure how. I'm also not really sure what I want the town to do function-wise. I mean, I have a grain storage system somewhere around here, but you know, how much storage for food do you need? I don't know. The last thing I did this month was to use my copper to make a brush. Archaeology is a mechanic in the game, and from it I got some pottery shards, some iron axes that I had to throw away, some emeralds, and a sniffer egg. I don't really know what to do with the sniffer egg. I don't know what climate it lives in, but I just put it in a hole for now and hoped it'll grow up. Now it's time to build the wings for the angel statue, right? Well, I thought so, but then life got in the way and I had a really busy week for the last week of March. I'm sorry, but the point of this challenge at its core is to enjoy Minecraft, and so far I've been doing that way more than usual. I love this challenge so far, and it was probably the most fun I've had in Minecraft for a long time. Again, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you. This series is inspired by Thworbin, and also I've been watching Nuts series, which is sort of similar to this one, and that's also been an inspiration too, so credit to those awesome creators. I'm also gonna have a more busy next couple of months, so don't expect a gigantic project like this one again anytime soon. Of course, I'm still gonna be posting, I'm still gonna be having fun with this thing, it's just the scale is gonna be a lot smaller. Anyways, I appreciate you guys so much. Peace, see you soon.